Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, mahaba, ciao, bonjour, namaste, jumbo, bienvenidos. Hey, my name is Jedley. Welcome to Reading with Your Kids. We are coming to you from the oh-so-beautiful neighborhood of Reedville, located in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. We are so honored and so very happy that you join us in our mission to help all families grow closer through reading. We do that by sharing fun, thoughtful, and thought-provoking conversations with fascinating people who just happen to be writing books for kids of all ages. Please be sure to tell all of your family and friends about the show and let them know that they can hear us on the WREB AM/FM 24/7 radio network. And they can find us on the iHeartRadio app, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, Podcast Addict, CastBox, Player FM, Boomplay, Ghana, wherever you find your favorite shows. We have two wonderful guests for you today. First, Sean Charmatz will be here. And a little bit later on in the show, we will be returning to the International Children's Book Festival in Bologna, Italy, to speak to Rwandan publisher and author Gasana Mutesi. And we will have a brand new Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read announcement. You don't want to miss it. Hey, are you looking for a fun read to share with your kids? Take a magical journey through Italy with Mozzarella and his cheese-loving friends. Introducing the Mozzarella book series written by Jenna James. You and your kids are going to love to follow Mozzarella and his friends as they search for the golden bucket genie. Along the way, you'll learn Italian words, discover new cultures, and learn important lessons about family, honesty, and kindness. Parents will love the bilingual elements that subtly teach a new language. And kids will be entertained and engaged page after page. Discover the heartwarming tales of Mozzarella today. Please visit mozzarellabooks.com to pre-order the series and to find free activities, recipes, and more. The Mozzarella Books by Jenna James, bringing families together with tales of cheese, culture, and fun. We would like to invite you to embark on a transformative journey with The Invisible Backpack, A Life of Courage, written by William Hartwick. Are you burdened by past hurts, grief, or trauma? William's heartfelt narrative, born from his own struggles with depression and Tourette syndrome, offers a pathway to lightening your load. Just like you, he knows the weight of an invisible backpack, growing heavier as life unfolds. But in his touching story, William invites you to courageously unpack it, making space for forgiveness, acceptance, tolerance, and love. Join William on a profound exploration of healing, blessings, and inner strength. Through William's vulnerability, he reveals the power of embracing your true self. Don't miss this inspirational tale of resilience and hope. Order your copy of The Invisible Backpack today and embark on a journey of self-discovery and courage. Get ready for a heartwarming adventure in Mommy's Day Off, the delightful picture book written by Jacqueline Christine. When young Louis's mom has to be away for a day, he's in for a wild ride with his dad. From waffle and ice cream breakfast to Wild West battles, they embark on an unforgettable journey filled with laughter and bonding. But as the day unfolds, Louis realizes there's a special magic that only his mom can bring to their home. Join Louis as he discovers the irreplaceable role his mom plays in his life, making Mommy's Day Off a touching tale of family, love, and the unique bond between a mother and her child. Get your copy today at Amazon or at JacquelineChristine.com. Join us right now from the beautiful city of the Angels in California. Our guest is here today to celebrate two great children's books. They're a lot of fun. Bubble Cat, Get That Garden, and Bubble Cat Grows a Garden. Please welcome. I messed up the first title. He's going to correct me. Welcome to the show, Sean Charmatz.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean, how are you?
I'm good. I'm very good.
It's Get That Balloon, right?
It's Get That Balloon, yep. And Bubble Cat Grows a Garden.
All right, so who is Bubble Cat?
Bubble Cat is a really, really kind, genuine, sweet bubble cat. You know, I don't know. It's not really a person. And the first book certainly, which is not these ones, but Bubble Cat basically thinks that he's too delicate, too fragile to really interact with the world. And in the first book, he learns that he's actually stronger than he thought, and that basically he also learns that he can float, which is kind of his superpower. But he basically learns that he is stronger than he thought, and now he's ready to go on all these adventures now that he's got this sort of like confidence that even though he's a bubble and could pop at any minute, that he's gonna like live his life to the fullest. But he's innocent and still learning, and I would just say a sweet, kind character.
It sounds like the kind of character we want our kids to be.
I mean, yeah. I personally, I have 2 kids, and I really just, it's the same rule I have for just people in general. If you're kind, then you're good with me. So I think just general kindness, patience, and thoughtfulness, yeah, it's like a great way to be a good person. Yeah. And it's important to me. So yeah, he encapsulates that.
Yeah. You know, it sounds, we've talked a lot here on the podcast about different ways we can support our kids to go out there and to find their strength. There's so much, I think the podcast has been on since 2017, so we've been doing this for a while. But I think when we first started the podcast, there was a real tendency for a lot of parents to kind of bubble wrap their kids and not want them to experience any kind of disappointment or bumps or scrapes. And certainly that would be fatal for Bubble Cat. But in the real world, our kids have to, you know, learn how to pick themselves up after they fall down and find out that they do have that strength.
Absolutely. I think it's mirroring that but I thought to push the idea of how fragile a character can be, yet to be living their life, the way that Bubble Cat is, where they're fine with doing things that could be dangerous. So yeah, I just thought it was a really interesting visual way to show that. And personally, I just love the universe that you feel here as well, and how deep, and hopefully for the kid who's like looking at it, they feel like this world exists, like this is a real world.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I can see that. Now, you are the author and the illustrator of this series. What came first, the idea of this kid, the stories, or was it the image of this cat that's a bubble?
It was definitely the idea of creating my own iconic character. And, you know, I grew up with Garfield. I grew up with, Felix the cat, Doraemon. There's so many like great cat characters and so many great iconic characters that I grew up on. I wanted to create my own. And I personally love cats, and I also love bubbles, and I wanted to mash those two together. And just with that idea, again, that I kind of keep repeating, which is that I think it's really interesting to create a character that visually you're like worried. Hopefully, as an audience, you're like worried for their safety because they visually look fragile. And that's an interesting thing to do visually for me.
Yeah. Well, that certainly is different than the characters that I grew up with, who were Bugs Bunny and the Coyote, and, you know, they were kind of almost indestructible.
Yeah. And those are amazing, iconic characters, and there's such a great place for those and stories and stuff. But I relate personally to a character that has limits and has challenges, and I find myself as I get older relating more to sort of grounded, more sort of human ideas than sort of like cartoony ideas. I know this is a cartoony visual, but I love sort of how sort of real the ideas are. And, yeah.
Do you think being a dad has brought you down that path in life, a way of thinking?
I think everything that I've been through, being a dad is one of those things that I think has contributed for sure to my way I see the world and the way that I see characters and, but it's everything. It's, you know, having been married and divorced and cats and dogs and neighbors and coworkers and weird things happening in the world that like genuinely feel like it's like maybe the end of the world and we all make it out kind of, and all the things that I've been through,
Mm-hmm.
you know, influence me. So yes, being a father, yes, but then all of those other things too.
Yeah. It is interesting. I'm quite a bit older than you. I'm quite a bit older than a lot of dirt. But it is interesting as you kind of look back and you reflect on life and you realize how much your perspective has changed over the years and especially what's important to you, how that's changed over the years.
For sure. And like one thing that I know, because I've been working on these books now for, it's going to be 5 years at some point soon, is that these books really speak to the like kid in me. And this is really what the kid, if I saw this book, I would be like, I love this. And I think it would be mostly, I'll be honest, like, I think a big part of it would just be the world that I'm creating here that to me feels unique and inspiring.
Yeah. It sounds like the world that a lot of young kids see. You know, we've talked here on the podcast about the fact we forget as adults that for 3, 4, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, almost everything they're doing for the first time or maybe the second or third time. And so the world is big and kind of scary.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. It's definitely something I've learned making, you know, movies as well, is just like realizing, you know, really considering the audience. And there's all kinds of things you can think about with the audience. But one of them that's really interesting is, a lot of the younger audience has never maybe honestly received the idea that you're giving them, even though it seems on the nose or, you know, a well-treaded path. You know, it's like everything is really, if you boil it down, it's all been, you know, but it's like the way I'm delivering this to me just feels interesting visually.
Mm-hmm.
At least.
Yeah. We've had different authors share like kind of their process, and one of our favorite interviews with a Newbery Honor author, Rajani Laraka, and she was sharing with me that when she starts a story, whether it's a picture book or middle grade novel, she kind of starts with an emotion. What do I want my audience to feel? What do you start with? I know you told us about, you know, this character.
That's like why I wanted to make these books, was to sort of just put on a sort of like focus a character that I created. But the question you just asked was, how do I start? And, you know, I also have I used to be popular with like my social media stuff and videos and things. What I realized with all the art I create is there's no way. It could be, there's so many ways I get to an idea. It really could just be something someone says. It could be an emotion that I'm like really sort of finding intriguing or I'm just interested in that I want to express. It could be an idea that I've had since I was a little kid And like, I finally found a place to like say that thing. It really is so many ways I get to my ideas, but, what I think is an interesting distinguisher is, do I have an idea and does it evolve?
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of find a new idea that's even better? Or do I have the idea and I just do it and that's it? That's exactly what I thought, and then I just executed it. And I find that those are two interesting ways to distinguish how I get to a final thing. It's, do I find it along the way? There's something there that I'm working with, and then I get there, or I just know what I want to do and I just do it.
Yeah.
Those are two really interesting paths for me.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite of those two paths, or it's just like I'm just going to enjoy this trip, whichever one I'm on?
So I used to really put a lot of pressure on myself to create artwork a lot. And so I think that now I have the luxury with how things are in my life right now that I can really just let it come to me. But I do think that there's been points in my life where if I really wanted to turn on some piece of me creatively, I like really put the pressure on to like, and I think when I do those, it's more about having the idea and executing it.
Mm-hmm.
What is the good? And I'm mostly talking about my illustration stuff outside of Bubble Cat, but it can be Bubble Cat as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sean, you were sharing with me before we started recording that you love pickleball and that you played pickleball all afternoon. Do you see Bubble Cat?
For a month. I've loved it. Yeah.
Okay. Do you see Bubble Cat playing pickleball or anything like that in the future?
I mean, I feel like if I did it now, it would just be because it's super popular and it would be just trying to like relate to, that's not something I ever thought Bubble Cat would do.
Okay.
I would say I would do it if it was like some sort of like, company that wanted to like, but I don't, and I'm not really someone who looks for that. So if it feels like you're mashing ideas together that don't go together, even though like maybe financially or like, I'll just say no to stuff if it just doesn't feel creatively right. Even if people are talking money, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think so, no.
Okay. All right.
I think that it'd be interesting if you had a game that felt like tennis or pickleball, but was their own thing. I think that's probably the route I would go.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just wondering, there's so many different, as we said earlier, there's so many different new experiences that kids are facing every day, whether it's chasing a balloon or growing a garden. What other kind of challenges do you envision Bubble Cat might be getting into?
Well, I'm working on one now where he doesn't know how to say no to people asking for help, which I think is an idea that I really like because I think it's one of the hardest things as an adult. And I think that, it's good to just be aware of as a kid, as you're growing up, becoming an adult, that's a real challenge, I think.
Yeah.
Managing your time and managing your priorities and prioritizing yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's an idea I'm excited about. Other ideas are, like wishing you're taller, wishing you're something you're not, and realizing that you like who you are. That's one that I like that idea as well. So I think they're just like, hopefully simple lessons on how to try and be a good person, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I like about these stories.
It sounds, if my kids were still kids, they're 27 and 30 right now, but the kind of conversations that I'm imagining especially with my daughter, just talking about what a nice being Bubble Cat is, and how kind and respectful Bubble Cat is.
That's something that they said?
Oh, no, I'm imagining that's something that I would be talking to my kids about if they were still small
cool.
enough to be on my lap.
Yeah, I think that's cool. I think, and I hopefully, again, like I said, there's always that tension of that Bubble Cat is a bubble and that really anything could pop up.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're carrying that through every moment, and like that's sort of something that you might feel.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, you've shared a lot about your creative process and whatnot. We do have a lot of aspiring authors and authors who listen to the podcast. Is there a bit of advice that you might have for an aspiring illustrator or author?
I mean, it's something I heard Seth Rogen say recently on like, I just see it on Instagram, and it's really the truth. I think that if you just keep going, you keep doing what you're trying to go creatively, and you just keep at it, that you'll get there. The only difference between people that don't and do are people give up.
Yeah.
They're just like literally, I know that sounds so like generic, but don't give up. And then I'd also say make sure that you're learning and that you're not stuck in like a bubble where you do need a lot of growth and you're not looking for it and you're not open to it. I think that can really hurt people as well. So don't give up, and then always be a student, always be learning. That doesn't mean you can't be really confident about your work. You can be super confident, but also be totally open to feedback that might change your complete view of how you approach what you were doing, and go, wow, like, you're right. Like, that's an okay thing as an artist and a creative to allow people to have an influence on you.
I think you're right. It's definitely, art is something that's so personal to us and our creations and our babies. And, I think sometimes we are really, hesitant to allow people to kind of give us feedback.
But we make it for an audience. So to make sure that you're taking that into consideration, and it is super interesting as an artist. I think it's almost the whole purpose is that it's for the audience and they're going to react. And if someone has a reaction that is like, hey, I felt this, and you're like, oh yeah, that's bad, huh? And they're like, yeah. I mean, I just think everyone needs to be open to that at all times. Mm-hmm. And that helps people grow so much. So don't give up and keep growing.
Yeah. Just one last question. I'm just curious. You mentioned your kids. What do your kids think about Bubble Cat?
This isn't a good one to end on because my kids just don't really care about what I do at all. I got a Silver Play Award from YouTube. They were stoked about that for like a minute, and then, but honestly, yeah, they just don't.
It's like
they don't care. They don't care.
I certainly can relate to that in so many ways.
My daughter has read the books to our dogs.
Okay. Well, there you go.
There you go. Reading to dogs is what we're doing over here.
I love it.
Yeah, they know that I make cool stuff, but it's just how they're just used to it. You know?
They're cool. They can't let you, get a big head.
Yeah, I've done a lot of really cool stuff that would give me a big head, and I think that I'm still pretty, I'm still willing to be better and keep working and all that stuff. So, I Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to get a big head. I feel like I've succeeded a lot, and that I can have a big head, and I don't want to.
Well, we are glad that you're not getting a big head, and we're glad that you spent time with us. I know people are going to want to, and they're going to want to know where they can go to find out more about Bubble Cat and find out more about you and all that cool stuff that you've done.
Where to go? Instagram, and then I would just Google like me and then shopping, and then I think the books will come up, and it's pretty. I would love the books to be in a store somewhere. I've never seen them in a store. That would be cool. So.
Well, that's a challenge. We should put that out there. If you see Bubble Cat in a store, take a picture of it, put it up on your Instagram, and then tag Sean.
That'd be cool. I'll send you a drawing or something.
That's awesome. We've had a great time speaking to the author and illustrator of Bubble Cat. 2 great books are out now. Get That Balloon and Bubble Cat Grows a Garden. Our guest has been Sean Charmatz. Sean, thanks so much for being with us.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, man.
Hey, are you ready to ignite a passion for reading in your students? Introducing bookandauthor.com, your gateway to literacy connections. With bookandauthor.com, connecting your school with talented authors of captivating kids' books has never been easier. Simply visit our user-friendly website and explore our extensive database of authors. Filter your search based on budget, genre, and availability. Discover the perfect match for your school and your students. But that's not all. With bookandauthor.com, you have the power to request a proposal. Let vetted authors come to you with their tailored ideas, ensuring an unforgettable literacy experience for your students. Don't wait any longer to inspire young minds through the magic of books. Visit bookandauthor.com today and open the door to a world of literacy connections. Bookandauthor.com, where literacy comes to life. Before we invite our next guest into the studio, we want to let you know we have a brand new Reading with Your Kids certified great read, The Invisible Backpack, A Life of Courage, written by William L. Hartwick, is a multifaceted literary work that transcends traditional boundaries, offering readers a profound and introspective journey through the complexity of human experience. It isn't your typical book. It's like a treasure trove of different literary goodies that go beyond the usual stuff. Sure, there's a captivating story, but what really sets it apart are the awesome poems sprinkled throughout. They cover everything from the importance of teaching to the preciousness of children and the gamble that is life. Each one adds on another layer to the book's big themes of resilience, love, and growing as a person. It's like getting a bonus with your main course. Makes the whole experience even richer. Hartwick's poem, Teaching, serves as a powerful ode to the invaluable role of educators in shaping the minds and hearts of future generations. Through evocative imagery and heartfelt sentiments, Hartwick emphasizes the transformative power of education, rooted in empathy, compassion, and love. He eloquently underscores the notion that teaching extends far beyond the confines of the classroom, encompassing the sharing of life experiences and the cultivation of a nurturing environment where children can thrive. Similarly, Children Are So Precious serves as a poignant reminder of the profound responsibilities we bear in safeguarding the innocence and well-being of the young. Hartwick's impassioned plea against child abuse reverberates with empathy and urgency, urging readers to nurture and protect the inherent joy and honesty of children. Through his words, he implores us to reflect on the impact of our actions and to prioritize compassion and understanding in our interactions with the most vulnerable members of society. To wrap it up, The Invisible Backpack, A Life of Courage, is like a literary roller coaster ride. It is packed with poetry, stories, and deep thoughts that tug at your heartstrings and make you see the world in a new light. William L. Hartwick really lays it all out there, inviting you to join him on a journey of self-discovery and resilience. This book proves that storytelling isn't just about entertainment. It's a powerful tool for exploring our own lives and connecting with others. So if you're ready for a transformative read, grab a copy and dive in. Before we invite our guest into the studio, I would love to invite you to visit a very special website. It's clownswithoutborders.org. Clownswithoutborders.org. This is a group that I absolutely adore. I am part of Clowns Without Borders, and I had the honor of being part of the 2023 tour of El Salvador. I had so much fun joining with artists from all over the world to bring a smile to people who really needed it and really appreciated it too. And we would love for you to join us as a monthly Joy Maker. The Joy Makers, they're a family of people just like you who love to laugh and make other people feel good. So please take a moment and visit clownswithoutborders.org and consider joining me as a Joy Maker. My friends, I am so excited. I am coming to you from Bologna in the nation of Italy. I'm here at the holiday and I'm getting ready to go to the International Children's Book Fair here in Bologna tomorrow. But down in the lobby, you never know who you're going to meet at the Holiday Inn. And I met a very fascinating woman. We've been having a great conversation. Could you introduce yourself, please?
Thank you so much. My name is Gasana Mutesi, and I am a children's book author and also own a small publishing house in Rwanda, Kigali.
That's really exciting that this event brings people from all over the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is exciting. I've met friends from Philippines, I've met friends from Turkey, I've met friends from Dubai, I've met friends from Belgium and France, and really the whole world is here for the books, and especially the children's books.
Yeah. So exciting. You and I were talking about why we think reading with our kids is so important. Can you just share with my audience?
Yeah, sure. I think it's something that to me I take personal because I have seen it as a mother. I've seen the impact that the reading with our kids really have on our children when they're growing up. I'm a mother of 5, so you can be very sure that I have tested, at least with the 5, I have tested the importance of reading. We made a decision when the early ages of our children and decided not to have TVs and other gadgets and decided to have a lot of books. And to me, I have seen a transformation among the children's character and behavior around, having the stories to read. But also, I think the most important thing that I love is the bonding that I have created with the kids and we have created together. That even when they are not near anymore, because, I have a 20-year-old who is now at university, we can still really talk like we are very close. And it's because of the books, it's because of coming together as a family, around papers, those pictures, those illustrations, and, talking about them and sometimes trying to kind of like repeat the stories, summarize the stories. And to me, it has been transformational, with these kids, and seeing how reading brings the bonding to me is very, very important.
Yeah. It's so important. You and I were also talking about the power that books have to be mirrors, windows, and sliding glass doors. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think books become, it's like picking someone's brain without meeting them. And then when you finally meet the author, you're like, oh my God, I think I have seen you before, because you read the story, you really immerse yourself with that person. And I always tell mothers that, the only friend that cannot gossip you, as a woman, the only friend that cannot gossip you is a book, because you get buried into the book, you dive deeper into it. And sometimes you laugh, sometimes you cry, sometimes you just go around the book and you feel like this is a confidant, it's a friend, it's a person you're talking to. And I think to me, it has been like that for a long time, and I'm seeing my kids becoming the same. Some of my kids can be in a noisy place and be glued to the book. And I always meet different people who are like, hey, how do you make your kids to love reading? Read. Read. Have a culture at the home for the kids to read. Because if you don't create that environment, then they will become like the environment they see at home every day. So if you decide to use books, to me, books are the personality. You can build, character traits with books. You can build personality. You can build humanity. You can build all the values that we talk about every day. You can do it with books.
Yeah, it's funny in the States. There's a lot of bickering and arguing, and I know here in Bologna we went by and there's people protesting something, and for me, the values that I wanted my kids to have and embrace, the best way to teach those values wasn't by arguing or shouting or picketing. It was sitting down and reading a book with them and then talking about why this is important to me.
Yes, I think we are running a campaign right now called Weekend Natota. Weekend Natota is it's a program that we are working on using a gorilla to tell stories, but also to promote reading, and we are kind of like telling parents to read with their kids over the weekend, at least get 20 minutes, 15, 30, to have that conversation around the book. And I think, to me, by the way, books can open conversations that you've been yearning to talk to your kids about, and you don't know how to address it. For example, a book can come and talk about, the physical features of growing up as an adolescent. And as a parent, a mother or a father, you really have been looking for an opportunity to talk to those kids about that. And then, a book just opens the discussions. They start to ask you questions. They start to ask you about that topic. And then it sparks, a conversation that will lead you to guide the kids, also to tell them what you think, to teach them what you want them to know about something. So I feel like books really cover or carry. It is a tool that can support, again, the parents to be able to communicate the values. Talk about Rwanda. We are now, by the way, today we started the 100 days, the commemoration of the genocide against the Tutsi, the 1994. And one way to communicate, to talk to the kids about the value of humanity, because, of dignity, of treating people with humanity, because there were a lot of inhuman acts that happened during the genocide, against the Tutsi in 1994. It's something that, the books can do well. Illustrations, designs, things that will not scare the kids away, but will really spark the deeper conversations about certain topic, and you can talk about it. So I think every parent should have that reading corner in the home. I don't care whether your house is a one-bedroom, or just have even if it is a poster on the wall to say, let us read, or let's read 15 minutes at least a day. All that can work.
So important, so important. It's incredible that I missed something very important, which was to ask you about your book.
Yes, I have 8 children books, and most of my books are more, maybe because I'm a mother of 5, are more on the fun part. So I love children books that animal, because I feel like they teach kids. I have a book called The Special Dog. So The Special Dog introduces kids to learning how to do some house chores, like sweeping, cleaning, receiving visitors, taking care of babies. The things that we sometimes tell our kids, you want to be. And we know that kids don't actually learn like that. They learn by what they see. They don't learn by what you tell them. So when they see that book, kids will be like, oh, so dogs can sweep. I can sweep. Oh, so they can actually cook. I can cook. So I create books that are like that. I have the monkey, the singing monkeys. I was introducing the cultural, traditional musical instruments that were used in ancient Rwanda, and we used it. So I just said, Monday one monkey was playing guitar, Tuesday two monkeys were praying. So it's more of introducing, some concepts to the kids, and then it sparks discussion. So I have 8 animal party, the singing monkeys, the dog that is spatial. I have also books on our cultural heritage, which talks about, breaking the barriers, especially on the girls, because, growing up, we did not have, personally, I didn't have equal rights with my brothers. So there are things that parents thought that they were meant for boys and others were meant for girls. So I wanted to break that, and then wrote a book about, these two, the kids who are siblings and used to go somewhere to see archery. I don't know if you know what archery is. And so every time they won, the boys would be like, if you go and do archery as a girl, your dad is going to kill, So one day they had to go and do it, and then the king, saw them and admired them, and then the story ends by the king making the girl to be the head of the army that was protecting the king because of her archery, skills. So it's more of like breaking the barriers from the historical, ancient kind of. So my books are really around values, around culture, around environment, science. Yeah, it depends. It depends really on the inspiration that I can get.
Yeah.
Books is about inspiration and also the topic you want to address with the kids.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And you also are the head of a publishing company.
Yes.
What's the name of the company?
Ubuntu Publishers. Awesome. Ubuntu means we are because you are. So literally, it's a human. It's I am because you are. So that's the definition that I have for it, because I believe that humanity is all about me and you. Yeah. It's never have been you or me. It has been the combination of the two. See how we just met here, and all of a sudden, for one is from the other part of the world, and then we sparked the discussion. That's what I believe. That is what humanity is all about. It's about, looking at someone and not looking at them from where they're coming from, but looking at them from the human perspective and human nature. And those are the values we want our kids to have, by the way.
Absolutely.
It's something that parents should know. We don't sit and wish our kids to have things. We sit and strategize and do the things that will cause them to have a certain kind of character. So it's not about you saying, I wish my kid was like this. You have to wake up in the morning and create that environment that you wish your kid to be. The person that you want your kid to be, you have the authority to make them. And that is all about Ubuntu Publishers. We create stories that are tailored to our culture, but also that has a lot of value increase that parents can read with their kids and feel like there is, that's historical ambience, but also there is, this kind of, we can do this, I can be this, I can do this, I can, so those are the stories we kind of create, and also some biographies and memoir, yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, it's really exciting, like you said, to meet somebody from the another side of the world. I'm much, much older than you. I'm almost 100. You're a young woman.
No.
But we share so many of the same values. And
we do.
And I love this idea that, we teach our kids not to see people for what they're, diversity is wonderful. It's great to celebrate, but in the end, we're all part of a beautiful human family.
Yeah. We don't have a difference. We might have a difference in height and color and the way we do things, but you see, inside us there's something called human, and that is universal. It doesn't have any barrier. It's not because you're white or short or tall or fat or whatever you are. I think to me, if every parent that has ever given birth wish their kids to be human. But you see, the reason why we don't see that is because we compromise it with our acts. We want our kids to be human, but we are not human around them. We are not human around our neighbors. We are not human around, in the country. We are not human to the citizens, to even our country. I think we have responsibility over the country to protect it, to to teach your kids that this is their land, not to be entitled, but to protect it from, everything that would, I always give examples with Rwanda. The 1994 genocide against the Tutsi happened in a way that for us, it became a shock. It became a shock for everyone. But I think it was a repetitive kind of acts that were happening over a period of time that became a culture, that even when someone was killing, they felt like, oh, I am okay. Otherwise, how would the husband kill the wife and the kids who resembled the wife and leave the kids who resemble him? How would that person exist after that? So, and that is something that I'm talking about. If we don't go back and check and say, in 30 years I want my kid to look like this, then we have lost it. Because they will not just be listening to what we tell them. They'll be doing exactly what we are doing.
Yeah.
So I think, so if you want our kids to be human, let us be human.
Yeah, yeah. So much what you said. One of our guests that I've referred to many times, LeVar Burton, who's a big Hollywood star.
Yes.
And I said, where did the passion that you have for reading come from? And he said, my mom. I saw my mom reading every day. Yeah. And that's what we're talking about. If we want our kids to be human,
yes,
we need to be human.
Yes. So and I want to repeat the importance of having stories that really communicate these values. You can tell a kid someone and they forget it, but children will never forget the books they read as at a young age. I still remember the books that I read, even though I caught up with books later, but I can vividly remember the Animal Farm. I can remember, the things fall apart, the river between. I can still remember those stories that I read in my high school, because that's when I met books. So maybe if I had met books before, I would be talking about, the stories, the Graffro and, but I'm talking about those ones because that is when I met books. And I always wanted to meet those people who wrote the books. And later, when I graduated, I met them from the publishing house that was publishing them. I worked for that publishing house. So that is how, books can influence you. It's a cycle. It's, you admire to be this, you want to be this. There's someone who has become it.
Yeah.
There's someone, and that person is in the book. I won't be able to, for example, wake up in the morning and maybe it is possible, maybe it's not. For example, if I wanted to meet Obama, it might be hard to meet Obama, but I've already met him through all his books.
Yeah.
It might be hard to meet, the former president, George W. Bush, but I have met him through his book. So it's something that people need to understand, that when we are doing some of the things that we do, we have to really understand the importance that the book carry, the papers carry.
Yeah.
They carry very much value, importance, and something that is very unique. I don't even know how to explain it. A book, like when you're glued into a book, you feel like you're touching this person, you're really, like you're greeting this person. You can laugh at some things in the book, so.
Yeah.
I think it's important.
Like you said earlier, books can become your friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
They can be a friend that never gossips.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Hey, what's one of the things, most of our listeners come from the United States, but also throughout the world. But what's one of the things that you want folks to know about Rwanda and Africa?
Wow. Rwanda and Africa. So let me start with Rwanda.
Yes.
Because I have to start with home. Rwanda is a country that have seen great tragedy, the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. But it is also a country that has made strides to build hope and resilience, and even with a lot of shattered, past. So come and see the people, come and see the stories. Two, we have the gorillas. So people should come and read the gorillas and all that. And maybe I will send you. I'm doing a book on the gorillas. So once it's out for the children book, on, gorilla trekking. Once it's out, I'll reach out to you and let you know. But people can come. Let them come and see Rwanda. It's a beautiful country. I know that people sometimes when you meet people here, they're like, "Oh, is there still war?" No. We are now an advanced country thanks to the great leadership of His Excellency Paul Kagame. We are where we are not where we should be. I always say that. 30 years ago we were a shattered nation. Right now we are an admired nation, and we can't take that. We cannot take that for granted. Then for Africa, well, Africa is a rich continent, and we're not just talking about the gold and the diamonds and all that. We're talking about the culture. We are rich with cultures. We are rich with our traditions and the way we do things. To me, I think it's that African touch. Come and see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, people need to know where they can go to find out more about you and your books. So is there a website that they can visit?
Yes, they can visit Ubuntu. Ubuntu is UBUNTU publishers.rw, which is Rwanda, RW. Or they can even go to all our pages at LinkedIn, Twitter, or former Twitter, X, Facebook, and put Mutesi Gasana. And then you'll see me. At least now you can hear my voice, but you'll see me. Yeah, and of course you can also go to Ubuntu Publishers, and then you'll be able to see what we do and what we are doing. And don't forget to read. At least take 20 minutes every weekend, some time with your kids. Read a story.
Absolutely. Well, this has been wonderful. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Reading with Your Kids and will join us for the next exciting episode of the show. In the meantime, please be sure to connect with us on social media, facebook.com/readingwithyourkids, at Reading With Your Kids on Instagram and TikTok, and at Jedley Magic on Twitter. We have a great YouTube channel, youtube.com/readingwithyourkids. You can listen to every episode of the show on our YouTube channel, but more fun, I think, would be to consume our Drawing With Your Kids videos and our STEM is Family Fun videos. Two great series that can help you grow closer to your kids through exploration and creativity. We're so excited. Drawing With Your Kids gives you the chance to learn how to draw some of the favorite characters that we've celebrated here on the podcast from the creators, the illustrators who created those characters. STEM is Family Fun. It's a great series that teaches you and your kids how to do STEM experiments with things you find around your house. And we have collaborated with some of the greatest children's museums across the United States to create this series for you. We'd also love for you to visit our website, readingwithyourkids.com. You can check out our blog, download our free online magazine, visit our Reading With Your Kids Certified Great Read Wall of Fame. And if you are an author, please be sure to click the Authors Click Here button at the top of the page to find out how you can be a guest on the show. I want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful. Of course, I want to start by thanking our guests, Sean Charmatz and Gasana Mutesi. Also want to thank my team, Fatima Khan, Rory Grady, Chris Doherty, Nick Warner, Kyoko Ito, Kayla Newland, Kristen Barrett, Sydney Swan, Hannah Rose. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all of her support. Most of all, we all want to thank you. Thank you for taking the time to listen to the show. And thank you so much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next episode of Reading with Your Kids.